And then what would you say is, has been the power of, have there been, on your journey, people that you've called out as either mentors who have helped you on the way, and also the power of, mindset shift in your journey? What would you say to that?
Yeah, people have certainly helped us. And the very first landlord we got, he took a chance on us. He said we looked a bit green, and he didn't know if we would last, he said, but he decided to take a chance on us because he thought we had good hearts. Yeah. And that is certainly true. We had every best intention. Our intention was to do absolutely the best that we could. Yeah. And we didn't know for certain that we could do it, but we thought we could. And we thought we could do what we thought we could do, because the beginning strategy, let me just go back, was rent to rent, where we're renting other people's property. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful business model, because rather than buy to let, where you put £50,000 into somebody's property, maybe you get £200 or £300 a month cash flow, and you need a lot of those £50,000 to pay for those deposit, buying costs, refurb for the properties that's locked up within that property to replace a salary or move on to financial freedom. But with rent to rent, you put in anything from a few hundred to a few £1,000s. You rent someone's property, you do it up a little bit inside, you rent it out to tenants for a higher yet still affordable rent. And the rent, after you've paid the bills and you've paid the landlord, the money is left for you. And on each of these properties, we were renting them out as house shares by the room, like a student rental, but for professionals. For each property, we were making anywhere between £500 and well over £1,000 per month per property, for properties we don't own. Wow. And what we could see is lots of people were doing this unethically. And what we could see is, if we could add care and do this ethically, where everybody wins, then that is what landlords are looking for, that's what housemates are looking for, and that was phenomenal for our business. And with that strategy, just add care and the ethical win-win-win, we were able to grow that rent-to-rent business, which is called HMO Heaven, and up to where we've got over £2 million of contracts on our books now, and just managing other people's properties. And that gave us, even at the beginning, it gave us so much confidence, because it is about mindset. And we did, we did power through all the fears at the beginning. But once we started seeing that we were getting results, we were able to rent out properties that other people couldn't rent out, or were renting out but losing money and all sorts, and turn those properties around into properties whereby the owners were getting a good rent, we were making a good profit, and the housemates were having a good experience. And we saw that and we thought, we can do this. And we could do this with our own properties as well. And we started to buy our own properties and build up our own property portfolio as well.
Wow, that's brilliant. And I like the fact there where you say, because in rent to rent, obviously there's probably be a lot of people, some doing the same. But if you can find and create a brand that is unique to you, which is what you guys did by actually identifying and adding the care element, because that's part of your story and part of your brand, and that's what distinguishes you from everyone else. And you're quite successful in that as well. So that's absolutely a beautiful part of that as well, creating your brand. And then from then on, within the property space, obviously it looks like you started diversifying, going into the commercial space.
Yeah, that's right. So the very first property that we bought was in the business was a commercial property, and it was we were going to turn it into an HMO. That was our first idea, because we were already managing HMOs. But our architect had the idea. We thought it maybe could do 3 flats, but our architect had the idea of 4 flats. 4 good-sized flats, and so that property is just worked out so well for us. So we bought that in 2017 for £150,000. with commercial tenants in place on a lease, and so it was washing its face. It was paying the rent that we were getting from the tenant, was paying the mortgage. Meantime, we went for planning, and we got planning for it to turn to 4 flats, and the lenders have valued it currently, well, with planning, at £300,000. So just with planning, if we hadn't done the works, at 300, and then after the works, they valued it at 500. So the works are currently happening as we speak. So we will see, but we will keep that property on, and the rents are going to be, from memory, over £26,000 a year gross. And because they're all self-contained, there's no bills for us to pay. It would just be the finance costs and any minor maintenance. So I just think everybody who wants to can invest in property, even starting off with little money, because of strategies like rent to rent, and because of other strategies where you can collaborate with other people who have money and use their money to invest. There's so many opportunities, and the biggest barrier, as you've already said, is opening your own mind to what is possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think one of the things people find as well, if you type up, like property and things, online, there's just so many things that are out there. People will talk to you about, could be buy-to-lets, HMOs, the service accommodation, BRR, and all sorts. So sometimes people get a bit overwhelmed as to which part should I go or where should I go? Because in reality, if you focus and put your efforts in any particular strategy, people are making money in almost any strategy in property. So people will get stuck and get overwhelmed. I see Stephanie does rent to rent, and then they find someone else, they do commercial conversions, or someone else does some service accommodation. Which one should I follow? But if you start off with one and it's not so much in line with you as a person, you don't last the course, because when the difficult, because to be honest, even for you, you'll find that it's, you get to achieve results, but it's not all plain sailing. There's challenges in every strategy. But if it's not aligned to you, you're just following someone, you can find that, those challenges you don't enjoy, and then you leave it and you go do something else. You end up trying a number of different things, in the end not succeeding in any. So what would be your advice to people who are looking to start? They understand, yes, they can make money in property, but which strategy should they go to, and what should they do?
Yeah, I think it's really important to get clarity on your vision for your life. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? Do you want a big portfolio? Do you want to continue working? Some people absolutely love their jobs and they want to continue working. They've got a lot of money, but little time. So that would suggest one type of investment strategy, perhaps buying and holding single lets. And then, or are they starting from little money and maybe not a lot of time, but they've got enough time that they can invest into property for a short period of time in order to give them the income to buy their own assets later on, and that would suggest more along the rent to rent sort of strategy. But it will be different for each person to assess what resources do they have in terms of time, money, and knowledge that they already have, or that they could get by collaborating with others. To think about where they want to go to, what does the top of the mountain look like for you, and then that will determine the best way for you to go. But the other thing I want to say is that there's no right and wrong answer, because I think what trips people up is that they're thinking there's a right and wrong answer. There's no right and wrong answer. Whatever decision you make is the path that you were supposed to take. You were supposed to take the learnings and the good and the bad from that path, and then if it's not taking you where you want to go, then you change your path, change your direction a little bit until you're back on track. But every part of the journey is meant for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Because it's all learning, isn't it? So you have to enjoy the journey as you go through it. So So coming back to you, obviously, like we say, entrepreneurship, business, or working, everything is not, as rosy as a plain sailing. What would you say for you have been the biggest challenges and also the biggest successes?
The biggest challenges, I think some of the biggest mistakes, that when we were very early and we started off in rent to rent, and we really wanted the properties, we really wanted to do a good job, and we ended up just spending way too much money on the refurbishments and things like that. And at that stage, we were dealing with other people's properties. Luckily for us, on one property we spent £12,000, for example, which is way too much. I don't know how we spent so much, but it was, what we learned from that is actually how to source things at the right price, how to get the building turned around much more quickly and for a better price, so we get the same result or a better result with actually less spend. So those were all learnings. But you sometimes have to put your feet in the fire, and you don't learn how to drive until you pass your test. And you can learn the fundamentals, so you've got the right kit with you. And then once you're on your way up the mountain, when you're getting your obstacles, you then have to work on your feet, say, how can I make this work? That's the situation. When these obstacles come to you, there is a way out. Someone somewhere in the world, and many people in many places in the world, have already overcome the obstacle that you're just about to overcome. Because I think sometimes when people are in something that feels like a terrible mistake, you feel that nobody's ever been there before, that you've got to figure it out on your own. No, somebody's already done this. There's already a plan. There's already a process. There's already a system for overcoming this objection. If you start asking yourself questions like, how could I overcome this? How could I carry on? How could I make this deal still be profitable after spending 12 grand? Because that deal has been a very profitable deal for us. We, even after we spent 12 grand on it, we still made 600 a month after deducting the 12 grand over the course of the contract. And the landlord then extended the contract for another 5 years. So altogether, we started off with 3 years, we went to 5 years. So altogether, we have it for 8 years. So you just start asking yourself, how could I make this work? Who would know how to help me here? Or where could I go for information? Who's done this before? And suddenly answers start coming to you, the right people start coming to you. So you asked me about the biggest
successes,
the biggest mistakes, the biggest successes. I just think the biggest success was when it came out of a failure. Actually, the biggest success was we were trying to buy 6-bed HMOs, and we kept being outbid or suffering from lower valuations by lenders. So all these deals were falling out of bed, but it was in a painful way, because we would go to see the properties, think, really want this property could really work for us. Then getting the lender valuations, getting a broker, getting the lending agreed. And then once the valuation comes in too low, falling out of bed. And then sometimes the seller doesn't want to negotiate. We don't want to pay the higher price. We don't want to have this extra money tied up. Anyway, so things were falling out of bed left and right. And then Nikki, actually, my business partner, sister and business partner, she saw a property that we would never have ever looked at, I don't think, had we bought one of these other properties. And it was a 12-unit property. And that put us on a new trajectory, because that showed us how incredible it was buying multi-unit blocks, which, as I talked about. And what I realised after we bought this, it was £375,000. We're based in Newport in Wales. So it's £32,000 per unit, per rentable unit. And each rentable unit rent is £450 to £600. And to buy a unit in Wales, like a studio or a one-bedroom flat that delivers £450 to £600 a month, would usually cost you anywhere between £90 and £120. And so to buy these units at £32,000 is an incredible gift for a property investor. And there are so many other blessings when you buy multi-unit blocks, because when you do the properties up, you don't need to convert them. They're already converted. You're just doing a normal basic conversion, redecoration, new kitchen, new bathrooms, etc. And when you increase the rent, you increase the value of the property. So it's not like a normal buy-to-let property. So, for example, we bought it 375. At the time, the rent was, the valuation was around 400. But our lender, when we bought it, valued it at 500 without the refurb on a 90-day resale. You know, when they say, so they valued it at £500,000, and now the rental at the time, the gross rental income was 44,000. It's now 66,000 a year in gross rental income, and so the value of that property will have gone up to 660,000 on a 10 times multiplier, which is what was applied before. And so it's crazy that we're in a low capital value area, but you can increase the value of the property so much because it's a multi-unit block and its valuation is worked out differently. The other thing you can do is you can split the titles, because you're buying 12 units all on one, right? When you're buying them all on one, you get them at a discount, £32,000 each. If you split them, people will pay more for them, and the market is different. When you're selling all on one title, you're only selling to investors. But when you're selling the individual flat, you could sell to investors, but you could also sell to first-time buyers, and first-time buyers obviously pay more for each individual unit. So there's so many different ways that the strategy really works, and so that's why we love the strategy of the multi-unit blocks, and that's been our biggest success.
Wow, brilliant. That's thanks for sharing that, Stephanie. Now, looking forward, fast forward 5-10 years, what does the vision look like for Stephanie and Nikki?